Hey, Bob.
Here we are live with the Coach Scott Field Show from Brave Haven Studios. Tuesday, February 17th. We are Season 2, Segment 6 already. And Bob, this is exciting. We have one of our book winners who came in. He's been up on the Hill all afternoon with legislation. He's a political guru, and Josh Davis out of Saratoga Springs is here. He came in from the Capitol because all the legislative stuff going on. So we actually get to have a live book presentation of the autographed copy of Triumph from Pat Williams.
That is awesome.
Is that cool?
That is.
He's all. How are you?
Good.
Triumph. It's an autographed copy, and we want to present that to you. You actually won this for sending in tweets during Brock Gillespie's segment, and you used the hashtag Coach SF Show. Really appreciate your participation, and we encourage the viewers to continue to do that. So we're going to pose here with a little book giveaway. So we're doing it live. Nice. Josh, I really appreciate you coming down, spending time with us. Yeah. Thanks for your support of the show. And you have any kind words you want to say?
Hey, thanks for having me on. And, great work that you're doing here, bringing attention to, fun issues in sports and also all of your commentary and character building. I think that's really important. And so I'm looking forward to reading this book. I know Pat Williams has been a legend. So.
Well, he's a leadership author bestseller. So, he's awesome. So, I think you'll enjoy the read. Great. There's going to be some great content in there live on the show.
Too.
So, I know as he's in China right
and he's a dynamic guy, sports, politics, everything.
Awesome individual. Yeah, we were blessed to have him on our show as we are to have you with us.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming down. You bet. Thank you, Josh.
Take care.
Saratoga Springs represented here tonight. He's doing some great things up on the Capitol. I heard him talking before the show some of the things that he's kind of lobbying for up there. And Josh, continue that great work because I know the people of Utah appreciate the work that you do. Here we go. Today, February 17th, it is Michael Jordan's birthday, 52 years young. And Josh Daniels gets to come on our show to help us tell Michael Jordan happy birthday. You can't beat that, huh?
Nope, can't beat that with a stick.
Hey, and I got the glasses look going on tonight.
Yeah,
I'm trying
professor.
To be. Well, I'd rather be professor than Gilligan. So anyway, I got a little scratch on my eye. So hopefully, actually I'm trying to emulate Dan Patrick. He had his glasses and he had a little conjunctivitis going on. So I kind of look up to him as a sports show host, and I'm following in his footsteps right now. So DP, thinking of you, buddy. Use that hashtag Coach SF Show for live Twitter interaction. And we're going to have T-Money on with us right now. T-Money, I know you're there in cold Ohio. You mentioned record lows there this morning. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great. Hey, got that Gilligan reference going, so I'm going to call you little buddy the rest of the
segment. So can I call you Skipper?
Hey, I've got the physique.
Well, I've got Gilligan's physique too, buddy, so let's do with it before, the professor and Marianne, kick us upside the head. Nick's back here trying to keep me on track, telling me to speed up. So, T-Money, hey, it was a great weekend with All-Stars. Exciting stuff. You called it here live a couple weeks ago. You said Russell Westbrook was going to be MVP, and he took it by storm, my man. Way to call it.
Yeah, he is playing some incredible basketball this year. The man is simply on a mission. He's finally coming into his own. Russ has always kind of been a love-hate guy. One day he's a great ball player, the next day he's stinking up the place. And I think he's finally maturing into his game.
Well, he's done a great job, and I heard, of course, whispers and rumors, and I know you have your finger on the pulse more than anybody when it comes to NBA news, rumors, and stuff like that. They were saying maybe he was going out there to show the Madison Square Garden people that he would love to be in a Knicks jersey in the next couple years. So what do you hear? What do you think of those rumors?
Yeah, I honestly think, that when his contract is up, I think he's probably more an LA guy than a New York guy.
Yeah.
I think Reggie Jackson's probably a better fit, especially given the fact that Fish tutored him and mentored him when he was in Oklahoma City. So I'd love to see Reggie Jackson because we all know he's playing for a contract. He's not playing to stay with the Thunder. He's trying to take the James Harden route out of town and get that big payday. So I can't see any reason why Reggie Jackson wouldn't be the point guard of the future in New York. But stranger things have happened. Russ could end up there. It is the fashion capital, and Russ is a fashion guy.
Right. Amen about that. Matter of fact, he kind of leads the way. He comes with his own little flash and flair. We had a poll question tonight too, Team Money. We talked about who's the best PG in the NBA. We had some options. We had Chris Paul, Steph Curry, Damian Lillard, John Wall, Kyle Lowry, Michael Conley, or other. Greg Caldwell in Indiana, he went with Steph Curry. Glenn in New York said Michael Conley, and he feels he's very underrated. And then I know Steve here in Utah said he likes Curry just because he's so fun to watch. And then also a former player of mine back from King College, Kevin Combs, came on our website and mentioned he also likes Steph Curry, that he's fun to watch. So I want to give a quick shout out to Todd, Scotty, and Kevin. They're with King College. And, it's fun to have these guys still interacting after all these years. They're out there in Virginia and Tennessee watching our show, so a little shout out to them. But with that poll question, Tracy, do you feel Russell Westbrook is the top PG in the NBA right now?
Well, Scott Brooks said it at the start of the season, actually right before training camp. He said that the Russell Westbrook is the best point guard in the NBA, hands down. But then we all know what a genius Scott Brooks is, so we can only take that, with a grain of salt.
Wow.
Personally, I think depends on what you're looking for. I think Steph Curry brings a lot to the game. He showed it definitely in a three-point contest with his skills. And then, of course, in the game, the All-Star game itself, with the way he just, the no-look passes, the way he handled the ball, the way he was stripping the ball. I mean, so there's obviously a huge argument for Curry. I mean, I know Curry's one of your guys, and he's one of my favorites, and I'm trying to save up some coins so I can go get some of those Under Armour shoes. But it's got 100 million colorways on that, so I'll have my choice. But no, I think it's just like looking at colorways of Under Armour shoes. I think you really have to look at what you want. So, one person could say Curry and be correct. I could say Russell Westbrook and be correct. Yeah. Another person could say John Wall or Mike Conley. And I really like the guy that says Mike Conley because I, too, feel Conley is very underrated and gets press.
I agree, and I am. I've got a soft spot for Steph Curry. I was able to work with him twice. When he came out as a rookie from Davidson out there with the Golden State Warriors, I was there with Keith Smart at the NBA Summer League. And then also out here, I got to work with him when the NBA was in their lockout, and we did a charity. So gracious. Was the last one on the floor signing autographs for everybody. He's continued to stay humble, and I'm a big follower of the active faith. I've got the band on here today, the In Jesus' Name I Play. I wear this wristband all the time. Anthony Tolliver, a good friend of his, came on to our show last season. So I do like the active faith sportswear, and I believe the mission that they stand for. So I'm excited to see Steph Curry because he's really increased his ball handling skills, and he's maturing into that point guard because he does do some flashy stuff, and he'll surprise you with his athleticism. He can get up and dunk. Now, he's not going to beat Levine up there on the slam dunk contest, but he can get off his feet and he can do some exciting things. So that was fun. Were you surprised with Zach Levine? Because I think you also called that. You had him favored winning the dunk, correct?
Well, I had him and Jonas going for it. I didn't know Jonas was going to tank it in the first dunk. That was sadly disappointing. But, going back to the three-point contest and going back to Steph specifically, as a coach, I know you watch this because as a student of the game, I watched it intently. But it was so beautiful, the rotation he had on every shot and the consistency that he delivered his shots with. I mean, you could tell, Kyrie had a good first round. Of course, Clay had a good first round, and I told my kids, I told everybody I knew that was going to be Steph and Clay against each other. I didn't know they were going to a three-man format, but
Yeah.
it shows. I mean, the guy just has a true touch, and that comes from hours and hours and hours of just shooting the rock over and over and over and practicing. And that's the kind of guy Steph Curry is. And of course, it doesn't hurt to have Del Curry as a dad, so he's probably been picking up a basketball since he could. So
Yeah.
But Levine jumped out of the gym. He made the dunk contest worth watching again. I hope he comes back next year.
Right. Some exciting things. Of course, there's no NBA action going on right now. Commissioner Adam Silver has stretched the All-Star break to allow the players to try to get some rest. I know he's been listening to the players, and he's taken that feedback. And, kudos to him for giving a little bit longer break for these guys to, take care of their bodies and get some rest, before they go into that stretch. Amari Stoudemire, of course, released and signs with Dallas. What's the rumor mill? Where's Ray Allen leaning? And, of course, we heard rumors out here that Inez Kanter was hoping to get out of his contract, but I think the Jazz are going to hold on until they get what they feel his value is, market value as far as in the market. But are you hearing anything on Ray Allen, which way he's leaning?
I haven't heard anything specifically on Ray Allen. I'm kind of more watching the Aaron Aflalo. It looks like George Karl's kind of flirting with getting the gang back together. He's looking at Ty Lawson. He's looking at Aaron Aflalo. But I think he's going to have a tug of war with the Nuggets wanting to keep Aaron, and also the Thunder really wanting to get in the mix on Aaron Aflalo. So
you got it.
That's an interesting side note to watch. I think the team that probably needs the biggest shakeup right now is probably Phoenix.
Yeah.
That glut of point guards, I think, is going to be a problem for Hornacek if they don't trade one away before Thursday.
Out there. Yeah, I agree. T-Money, once again, your finger is on the pulse. You bring quality content to this show, and I know you've had a treacherous commute with that weather out there. Hope you can catch up and get yourself some rest. Real quick, I want to end the segment by introducing Coach Paul Mokeski, who's coming on to our second segment. But I also want to send a special shout out to a good friend of mine who's retiring from the coaching. He's head coach out at the University of West Florida, a Division II program there in Pensacola. My good, close personal friend, Bob Stennett, is retiring. I wish him all the best in his retirement. Thank the world of he and his wife, June. I know they're out there watching. So, Bob, all the success to you in your retirement. Hopefully we'll get to work together again sometime. We're going to come back after this break, and we'll have Big Mo, Paul Mokeski, live on the Coach Scott Field Show.
The Coach Scott Field Show, brought to you by Brave Haven Media, media with a pulse. Don't forget to call Kim Fields at Salon Dante in Sandy, Utah, 801-572-8812. We'd also like to thank the NFL Store and the NBA Store, affiliate sponsors of the Coach Scott Fields Show. Check out all of our affiliate sponsors at www.coachscottfields.com. Be sure to make your appointment with 9th Avenue Dental. Dr. Chris Tarbert will put a smile on your face. And now, back to the Coach Scott Fields Show.
Cool.
We are back live with the Coach Scott Fields Show here from Brave Haven Studios in Salt Lake City. I am thrilled to have a close personal friend of mine, Big Mo, Coach Paul Mokeski, is joining us tonight from Canada. And real quick before we get Coach Mo on the phone, we want to say another shout out to Coach Corey Baker out there in North Carolina. Corey, appreciate you watching our show tonight, my man. Coach Paul Mokeski, how you doing, my friend?
I'm really good, Scott. It's good to hear from you. A little chilly up here and snowy, but hanging in there.
What's the temperature and what city are you in tonight?
The team I'm coaching is the Brampton Aids. It's in Brampton, which is about 30 minutes outside of Toronto. Yeah. However, we live and train in Orangeville, which is another 30 minutes away. It's a smaller town, and we have a great Athletes Institute training facility, and the players and I live here.
Nice. What's the temperature up there today? Are you below zero?
We were -6 this morning.
Oh my God! I hope you had a couple. I hope you had a couple sweatshirts on, my man.
Yeah, I'm learning. You know, Milwaukee for 7 years taught me about layering. So
there,
I got that down.
There you go, Coach. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. You know, you and I, we go way back, and I'm even going to jog your memory. It was in the late 1980s in South Carolina where you and I first crossed paths. We were in Columbia, South Carolina. You were running Big Mo's Big Man Camp, and I was down there running a shot doctor camp down there, and we got to spend a little bit of time having a lunch, and then you and I, we just seemed to keep on crossing paths. A couple years ago, we were in Sacramento together. You were with the Reno Bighorns, and we were there visiting with Keith Smart there with the Sacramento Kings at the time.
Yep, you and I both know, you know, the coaching community is, you know, it's wide at some points, but also it's you know, we cross paths a lot, and with good people like yourself, Keith Smart, you know, staying in good circles is important.
Oh, you better believe it. Hey, let's share with the viewers. I mean, we have a great, you know, national and international viewership here on the Coach Scott Fields Show. Share with the viewers a little bit about your journey. I mean, I know you were drafted in the second round, I think pick 42 by the Houston Rockets. You played with the old Rock Chalk Jayhawk out there in Kansas. But you had a great career as a player, being a 7-footer, and then you've also coached in the minor leagues. You know, let's talk a little bit about that journey and, you know, some of the things that you've learned along the way, my friend.
Well, I grew up in California. Was a top high school player my senior year, and had an opportunity to go to a lot of different colleges and picked the University of Kansas because of you know, just the feel of Lawrence and Allen Fieldhouse. It's just a classic college town, and played there. Started for 4 years. Really enjoyed my experience there as a Jayhawk. Met my future wife there, and then after that was drafted by Houston. Played 12 years in the NBA with I think Houston, Detroit, Cleveland, Milwaukee, and Golden State, and then actually played 1 year in Paris, France. After that, I always knew I wanted to be a coach. You know, later on in my career, and you know, really thought the game and thought strategy and, you know, reasoning for doing things, and started my career, you know, at the end of my career, really thinking about becoming a coach, and had an opportunity to be a player coach in the old CBA in Quad City for Coach Dan Panaggio there, and then had a few years as an assistant in the CBA, as a head coach in the CBA, and then I've coached for 5 years with the Dallas Mavericks. I was on the bench in Charlotte. Along with 6 years of experience in the NBA Development League, both as a head coach and assistant coach.
Right. You know what? And those are great stepping stones. I'm sure that you've taken different things from different people that you've learned from, you know, within your journey, you know, spending time with the Mavericks. And I know you was also with Sam Vincent for a little while in Charlotte. great stuff there, Coach. The D League has come a long way, since its inception, years ago. I mean, you're seeing a lot of hybrid teams now. What were some of the things that you enjoy seeing with the development of the D League as a coach? Because again, you mentioned an assistant coach and also a head coach in that D League. What are the things you like that you're seeing right now in the D League?
Well, when I when I first started in the D League, I was in Fort Worth with the franchise there, and it was relatively just starting to become popular. A lot of were not really up on using the developmental league as helping their players as much as they are now. They were a little bit leery of it, and then as it went on and as it established itself and became the place where second-round draft picks, free agents, and even first-round draft picks, lottery picks can come down and get playing time because as we know in the NBA, it's a 12-man roster plus a couple guys on IR. There's 4 or 5 guys that aren't getting much playing time, and quite frankly, sitting on the bench in the NBA, you don't really get better. You have limited practice time, and you do have a lot of workout time, but you don't have any game time. And the value of playing in live game action with NBA-style referees and coaching is so valuable for the development of players, especially now since so many of the NBA players come out early and they're so young when they come in, after 1 or 2 years of college experience. They need the playing experience at a professional level with professional referees, and it's a different game. And as the league grew and as teams, NBA teams saw the value in that, then they decided they wanted to run their own programs and have their own coaches in place and be able to really focus on that development because, like I just said, it's so important to develop these young players. They come out of great colleges like Kentucky and Kansas and UCLA and all those, but after 1 year, they're not ready really to play professionally. Most of them aren't, and they have to learn. And the developmental league is just a great opportunity to learn as a player and grow as a player. And then I was with the Rio Grande Vipers for 3 years, which is the Rockets affiliate, and they are very hands-on. And the Rockets use it to develop players, but also to look at different things that they might want to try in the NBA with the Rockets, but they want to find out, they want to get research on it. Maybe it's trapping pick and rolls for a whole game or, obviously the up-tempo that a lot of teams are running. See if you can, last year I was with RGV and our goal was 50 three-pointers a game and see if that works. So it's just a valuable tool for player development and basketball development for your parent club.
Right, and I love that concept where they've kind of emulated the model of what baseball has used for years, and why not use it to test theories and philosophies and kind of see what works. I know you were on staff down there with a good friend of mine, Coach Nick Nurse, who's with the Toronto Raptors right now, who's having great success. But you also got to be an assistant coach with the Great Britain National Team with a great staff with Coach Finch as well. How was that experience?
It's a great experience. I started a few years before with Jamaica and Sam Vincent with the Jamaican national team, and we won the Caribbean Championships, and then we went to Central Basket, and that started my international coaching experience, and then for 3 years with Great Britain in the Europeans, and accumulating with the being able to coach in the Olympics in London. With Chris Finch and Nick Nurse, and just grew to really love the international game, and seeing firsthand Spain and Lithuania and Russia, and those teams play their style of ball is really interesting to me, and it's kind of where the NBA is leaning towards now.
Right. And again, those are great experiences. I've had some success with working with some national teams, consulting with some national teams. I actually came down, was able to watch Sam Vincent with the team captain was Julius Nuwasu, who played for me in Lebanon. And then I actually had one of your players from Jamaica in China, Kamani Friend, was over there with me. So it's amazing how small of a world it is, and how the fraternity and the players that we get to work with and develop and continue to teach and grow. It's just so much
Scott,
fun, Coach.
I'll tell you, and hit on that point right there. You just hit on a great point. In our team here in Brampton now, we have Akeem Scott, who I coached in the Jamaican national team, and Kyle Johnson, who I coach with the Great Britain team. They're both on our team right here in Canada right now.
Nice. Well, and let's segue into that. That league, the NBL up there in Canada, has grown tenfold since its inception, and the players are getting better. You're seeing more Canadian players, in the NBA draft. I know it's cold up there. You're there. You're coaching there with your friend. What's that experience been like? Because that league has become more and more competitive as better players are finding their way into those leagues because they're getting quality coaches like yourself to continue to market them for their careers.
Yeah, my first introduction was last year. One of my closest friends, David Magley, who I played with at Kansas, and also 1 year in Cleveland with the Cavaliers, came up here and to be the head coach of the Brampton A's. And actually last year was his first year, and I was going to be more of a consultant and come up. I spent all a month of training camp, and I was going to come up every 1 or 2 weeks a month, and then I was going to do some NBA scouting for him for NBA teams last year. And then I got the call from the Rockets to go down to RGV. So after that, this summer, David wanted me to come up full time here as associate head coach, and so I've been here. It's been very interesting, having the experience in the D League, which is one of the top, leagues besides the NBA in the world. This league, the Canadian National League, is really moving up, and the quality of play and the basketball is getting better and better. And I know from our training camp 2 years ago to what the team we have this year, there's no comparison in the skill level. Also at our training center here at Athletes Institute, they have one of the highest level prep and high school teams here with some of the top Canadian players high school that play in their junior program and are being recruited by Michigan State and Kentucky and Kansas. Wow. And, the level of basketball here up in Canada is just growing, and Steve Nash had a lot to do with it. But when you look at their national team, they're one of the top three teams in one of the top three countries in the world with the most players in the NBA right now, and it's only growing.
There you go. Well, Coach, I know you're too humble to say it, but I'm going to say this here on the show. It's interesting that because everywhere you've been, there's been success. Everywhere you've been, there is growth. Within the league and within the players and the development of players. And I think that is a huge compliment to you for the quality of work that you do, but yet also using your networking to bring in quality players to build the team, to build the franchise, and put a quality product on the floor for those communities. And I want to commend you for that great work because it truly is a lot of hard work and dedication, and there's a grind to it. And I have nothing but the most respect for you and how you go about your work daily, my friend.
Well, I appreciate it, and we get to be involved with basketball and a sport we love, and I've loved it since I was a little kid. But a lot of people don't realize that it does take sacrifices, and I've moved my family, over the years over 25 times, and I'm here in Canada right now, and my family's in Reno. Yeah. It's making that sacrifice, but with the group of players we have and the coaching staff, it's always rewarding. But there is sacrifice, as you know, on the family level. But being a part of a great game of basketball is just I've been so fortunate to have 12 years of NBA playing experience, and now I'm in my 23rd year of coaching on the professional level, and just been blessed that way.
Coach, you know what? You are an asset to whatever franchise that you bring, without a doubt. Just to have all of those years of experience from the hardwood, to the players. What are some of the things you're most proud of when you're working with big men on the floor, and who are some of those players that you've, maybe are not really on an NBA radar, but players that you've seen growth and development with, whether it be with a national team, whether it be with Luau Deng in Great Britain, or maybe some of those Jamaican players that are just raw athletes. What were some of those success stories that you've had, or even with Rio Grande, or even in Reno, my friend?
Well, the two things that stand out in my mind right now is one player who I had a chance to coach when he was a rookie in RGV, and now I think he's in his third season with the Washington Wizards. Is Garrett Temple, Garrett Temple's from LSU, and just a class person. He's a solid player, not spectacular, but solid. He can play the one. He's solid, great teammate, just a great individual and great kid. And got a chance to meet his dad and talk to him and have dinner with him. And so happy, that he is having a successful career in the NBA. I ran him into the airport last year at the All-Star break in Dallas, I think, and kind of we crossed paths. And I asked how he's doing. He said, "I'm doing great, Coach. I'm not playing as much as I'd like, but I'm a third point guard in the NBA, and that's fine with me. And I'll try to keep working better and get better." And when players say that, and they thank you for helping them along the way, it's just really rewarding. The other one that really stands out now, because I see him quite often, is James Johnson. And James Johnson was with us in RGV last year. He was a former first-round draft pick, bounced around the league a little bit, did some things, didn't have a great reputation, came down to the D-League, spent 2 months with us, training camp, and the first month of the season was the best player in the D-League, and was humbled, and just spent time with him talking about not as much basketball, but just about his personal life and how he has to prioritize. And he got married and had a little boy, and kind of matured and grew up. And he's a big part of the Raptors right now. Right. He's doing great. He's in their rotation, and he's come to about 3 or 4 of our games here in Brampton too, and just to see his success. And when good people make great decisions and get success, it's really rewarding as a coach to see that happen.
Well, there's no doubt about it, and thanks for sharing that story, because he is a gentleman who works extremely hard. He's coachable, and I'm sure he truly values, just that quality one-on-one time, getting to know him as a person off the floor as much as what goes on the floor. And sometimes those types of meetings, getting to know someone, kind of help know how to inspire and motivate them. Did you have a chance to also work with Hassan, who's down in Miami right now? Look at the growth and maturity of him playing in the D-League for a while, and now he's got himself in shape. He actually played over in Lebanon, where I coached for a few years and had success, but he's doing a nice job with Miami right now, since their rotation is kind of small in the front court. But did you have an opportunity to work with Hassan?
Yeah, Hassan was a rookie with Sacramento when I was in Reno as the head coach, and we had him a couple times, and quite frankly, a great kid, didn't really understand what hard work was and what being a professional was, and had a kind of a rude awakening, and was there with the Kings for a couple of years, but just didn't really get it, and then went to the D-League for another year as a D-League player, not an NBA player, and then played over in Lebanon, and then finally starting to get it, and now he's just flourishing because he is growing. And he was young and learning, and just didn't know what it was like, what it meant to be a pro. And it took him it took him 3 or 4 years, but look where his success has taken him now. That's
right, just that perseverance and that work ethic, and sometimes it takes someone a little bit longer to grasp what it's really all about. I can't say, I don't know, but sometimes they get poor guidance. Maybe coming into the draft too early. You spoke on that earlier about how young some of these players are that are being drafted that just aren't mentally or physically prepared for an 82 game grind, and they don't know how to take care of their bodies, and their bodies are their assets, and how to eat well and rest, and just to get into that daily grind. And I'm sure some of those meetings that you had with him, whether he was hard-headed or stubborn at the time, but obviously his growth and maturity has come to fruition because he is finding a way now to, be a contributor to the Miami Heat.
A lot of things are going to be easy. He was very emotional, and expected a lot to be given to him, and I quite frankly, I had a straight up. I'm straight up with the players, and I had a straight up conversation with him, and I said, Hassan, you need to learn how to work hard, and don't let outside influences bother you. Just be focused, because if you don't, you'll be in SAC for a couple of years, and then they'll kind of bump you around, and before you know it, you're going to be in the D League making D League money, which you don't want to do, and then if you don't get it, then you'll be out of the D League, and who knows what'll happen. And that's kind of the path he took. But at some point, something happened and something clicked where now he is finally getting in. And very rarely is it the basketball skills that stop these young players. It's just not. It's their mental outlook, their ability to be a pro and do what it takes, and ability to accept a role that might not be as big as they think they need or think they deserve. And that's a lot of what being in the NBA Development League for 6 years, I told the players all the time, and we had over 10 players called up into the NBA, that when an NBA general manager or coach or scout calls us in the developmental league, they don't ask about the player's jump shot or dribbling or this or that. They ask what kind of teammate he is, how hard a worker is he a pro, does he get along with the teammates, does he get along with the coaches, is he coachable? Those are all the things they ask, not about their basketball skills. And that was a lot of James's problem about he was the best player in the D League by far, and one of the best I've ever seen. And I said, James, it's not your basketball. It's the perception of everybody of, you off the court or you in the locker room, and that's what you got to change, and that's what he did.
Man, that is some great content right there, Coach, to share that insight, to share that with our viewers, because I know there's players out there that may be interested in making that leap, going from college to pro, and they may have to be in the D League where, you're going to be spending a lot of time on buses, 15-hour bus rides, eating at McDonald's, like you said, on that D League salary, which is tough. The per diem is a challenge, but I'm sure that's all a part of the journey for those players to be able to accept, where they're at, how to learn to be a pro, and like you said, are they good in the locker room? Are they good on the bench? Are they going to be quality guys in that locker room and not be a head case for that head coach to have to worry about? And I'm glad you spoke on that. You have spent some time. Go ahead.
One of the players I really hold up to, especially the big guys that I come in contact with, a good defender, can score low in the paint, but he's not the most gifted or skilled guy out there. And he's had a long and great successful career with championships, and quite frankly, he's making $14 million a year. People are dying for him to be on their team. Why is that? Well, he accepts his role. He's very good at his role. He's a great teammate. He's a great leader. And teams want him, championship-type teams want him on their roster. That says a lot for...
So glad that, Coach. You have spent some time coaching in the NBA. You got to be with the Dallas Mavericks. And, what was it like being around, the energetic, hands-on Mark Cuban, who, right now making moves. He brought Rajon Rondo in. He's trying to, surround good role players, around Dirk. and now he's just brought in Amari Stoudemire. But what was it like working for Mark Cuban, Mr. Shark Tank himself?
Mark is a very interesting guy. He's a very innovative guy, and he's ahead of his time in everything he does. Everybody's talking about analytics now and all that. The Mavericks were doing that years ago, as other teams were doing. Having more coaches on the behind the bench help. I always thought it was interesting that everyone gave him, because I was part of that, and they he has so many coaches, and if you're investing $100 million on your players, wouldn't you invest $1 million on coaches to help them become the best players they can be? And he was part of that. He's just a very innovative guy, and as you can tell, just look at his roster. He believes in veterans. He believes veterans can win you championships, and finding the right pieces to fit. And he's not afraid to spare money or look under any stone to find that missing piece that can get him over the hump. And that's what has made him successful both on and off the court.
I agree, and I think that's well said. I love the fact that he was, like as you said, innovative enough to have a player with a coach who could sit there and work with them and their development and be there to keep your finger on the pulse to take care of and service that athlete or that asset to the franchise. So to me, I thought it was brilliant. I don't care what anybody else said. So kudos to him, and I'm sure you learned some great things there while you was in that franchise. You also got to spend time with Sam Vincent, again, who is a friend of mine, who I believe is actually coaching internationally right now over in Bahrain with Manama Club. And he's also worked with some national teams. What were some things that you took from Coach Sam Vincent, while working with him?
Well, I've been fortunate to be coached by and worked with some great coaches, and the two that really stand out are Don Nelson and Del Harris, who are just unbelievable talented coaches, but also great people. And I've worked with them both as players and coaches, and you learn a little bit from everybody. I played under Lenny Wilkins, and learned a lot from him. And then you can learn from some of the younger, my age coaches like Sam Vincent that, they're, I hesitate to say it, but kind of like the new breed of, player type coaches that, have different relationships. When I was playing, the coach was the coach and the players were the players, and now those lines are getting blurred a little bit where, coaches have to be more tight with their players and understanding, and that relationship has really changed from a coach telling you what to do and you do it, to a coach telling you what to do and you ask why you have to do it, to let's do this together. And that's some of the stuff that Sam, working with Sam in Charlotte and with the Jamaican team, taught me about relationships with players, and you also have to have the relationship to get them to trust you, and there has to be trust that goes back and forth, and that's one thing that I really learned from Sam.
Man, that is great stuff there, Coach. Hey, we also had a poll question that we'll end our segment with, because I know it's getting late out there and you probably want to get under a couple blankets and get by a fireplace. But our poll question tonight, we threw it out there to our viewers. Who is their favorite point guard in the NBA? And as a guy who's played in the NBA, who understands what it means to play with a good facilitator and leader of the floor, who do you like? Some of the names that are being mentioned, in today's game, Chris Paul, Steph Curry, Damian Lillard, John Wall, Kyle Lowry, Michael Conley. Coach, who do you like, and who, if you had a younger son right now who was coming up through the ranks, because I know you've got family, and if they were a point guard, who would you want your son to emulate or watch to be a great point guard?
Well, I think the point guard position has just changed over the years, and from years ago, the point guard was the distributor, and he was the guy that ran what the coach wanted to run and got the players the shots that they needed to get them the ball where they needed it, when they needed it to score. and now it's really changed to where, if you could think of any past first classic point guards anymore in the NBA, I think it'd be hard to find one. Being Steve Nash might be one of the last ones that you could think about. So now point guards are relied on to not only distribute the ball but also score and handle a lot of the scoring. And I'm a little partial because I know this guy and I know his dad real well, but I really like the way Curry plays, and he can shoot the ball like nobody's business. We all know that. People don't know how good of a passer he is and how good of a high basketball IQ he has. I had a chance when I was in Charlotte, and our youngest son was with us that summer, where he worked all the basketball camps that Del Curry had, and of course so did his sons, and they played with the college guys afterwards. And I had my son. I said, "You get on his team every time you can," and I think for a month straight, I don't think his team lost a game in any of the pickup games,
Wow.
and I didn't see him miss many shots. But the most amazing thing was that I thought was his passing ability and his ability to put the pass on the money, for his teammates. And I think he's Chris Paul and all those guys are great. And the Russell Westbrook, is he a pointer? Is he a two dilemma?
Man, Coach, I echo what you're saying. He is fun, and even it's a fans all-star game, no doubt, but you can kind of see some of his flair and savvy out there with those high-level players when he can kind of open it up on the floor and the way he handles and like you said, how he passes. He's a much better ball handler today than he was coming out of Davidson when he first went to Golden State, and he is fun to watch. But Coach, thank you so much for taking the time tonight to be on our show. You have helped empower and educate and help the growth of these coaches watching and also these players that are viewing our show with us tonight. So thank you so much.
I appreciate it, man. Enjoy what you're doing. I'm really supportive, and I really enjoy talking with you, and keep up the good work, man.
But Coach, I appreciate you. Take care of yourself out there. Can't wait to cross paths soon. I'm sure we'll sit down and have a salad together somewhere.
We will this summer somewhere.
That's all right, Mo. All right, Mo. Take care of yourself, buddy. God bless.
All right, you too, man.
All right, hey, we are going to go to a break, and we're going to come back with segment 3, and we're going to kind of wrap up and talk about some things that are going on, and we want to encourage you to use that hashtag CoachSFShow. Send in those tweets because we still got another book to give away, just as we did tonight in our first segment to Josh Daniels out of Saratoga Springs. Keep those hashtags coming, and we'll be right back after this break.
Don't forget to call Kim Fields at Salon Dante in Sandy, Utah, 801-572-8812. We'd also like to thank the NFL Store and the NBA Store, affiliate sponsors of the Coach Scott Fields Show. Check out all of our affiliate sponsors at www.coachscottfields.com. Be sure to make your appointment with 9th Avenue Dental. Dr. Chris Tarbert will put a smile on your face. And now, back to the Coach Scott Fields Show.
We are back live with the Coach Scott Fields Show, and it was so fun being there and talk with my longtime friend Paul Mokeski, and listen to his journey. And it's amazing how frequent that within our fraternity, how we all continue to cross paths, and we get to work with some of the same players, and we share notes on those people. And I mean, here we are in Salt Lake City, and he's up there in Brampton, Canada, and here we are talking live with all of our viewers, and it's just so fun to kind of connect and reconnect and share that content with our viewers.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, and you can tell he's a big man. His voice just sounded like a giant.
Oh, Big Mo.
I mean,
7-footer.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
So are you saying I kind of sound like Gilligan over here? Is that what...
I'm not saying that, but I'm not saying that. How's that?
There you go. Hey, again, continue to send in your live tweets to us tonight. We really appreciate reading them. Our producers here are behind the scenes. They're reading them. Appreciate some of our new tweeters out there. Again, use that hashtag Coach SF Show. Send it in. You're going to see your live tweets. We hope you enjoy that interaction. And Tracy, our show blogger, week after week, Bob, does just a quality job of sending in tweets as we're on live.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a lot of fun,
Well, Tracy asked a great question, and I didn't want to interrupt you because of the content, but he says, ask Paul who the best big man in the NBA was. So,
like when he played or like now?
Well, he just threw the comment.
I love it.
Threw that out there, so I think he was thinking now.
Yeah, T-Money, I wish we could have had Big Mo answer that question. Thank you for sending that in. It's not overlooked. I just wasn't able to get a hold of it to get him to ask that question. And again, I did hear Big Mo mention that, the game has changed. The point guard position has changed. Even the 4 position has changed. Traditionally, back in the day, it was always 3 out, 2 in, and now it's more of a 4 out, 1 in, where the 4-man, which is the power forward, where here when Jerry Sloan coached, that power forward position, was on the post, whether high or low post, and now it's more of a stretch 4 where everybody's shooting more of the Dirk Nowitzki type, the 7-footers who come over from, Europe, and they're just outstanding shooters, good ball handlers, but they're fundamentally sound, which segues me into my newest post that I put out this week. I put a post out on Monday, and you guys can always go and see these posts at CoachScottFields.com. I talked about, are you coaching and teaching for the right reasons? There's a Chinese proverb in that post that I led off with that says, give a man to fish and he will eat for a day. But if you teach a man to fish, he will eat for a lifetime. And I just feel that that's significant because we at the Coach Scott Fields Show with our producers, our mission is all about empowerment. It's about education, and it's about growth. So we're not trying to just throw you a fish so you can eat for the day. We want to give you the quality content that you as viewers can go back and look at these archives week after week to gain content and gain knowledge and expand yourself within your professional career and on your journey. In this post, and I want to thank you, and I'm humbled for the multiple shares that have come out of this because it's only been up for about 24 hours, maybe 30 hours now, and we have over 200 hits on that. I was being pretty stern, but it comes in the wake, Bob, of the whole fiasco that happened with the Little League World Series and the coaches that bent the rules to win that national championship, or actually the world championship. Right. And it frustrates me that my generation of people who call themselves coaches are bending the rules. And what are they truly teaching these young kids and these young athletes? Because how are you going to sit there and tell this 11 or 12-year-old boy that now they have to give away everything that they've earned because they've broken the rules? Yep. What are you teaching that young man? And that's what, I'm going to throw out some stuff and challenge you as coaches. And my generation is guilty of it. It seems that a lot of coaches that are my age, no matter what level they're coaching at, they're coaching for the win. They're coaching for the next endorsement or the next contract. Right. And to me, it's backwards. It's wrong. They should be spending quality time with these kids and teaching them life lessons, life skills, things that they're going to carry with them for a lifetime. Wins and losses are great, and that's fun, and it's all part of it because that's the microwave society that we live in, and people want immediate satisfaction, but it's the growth and maturity within that process where we are able to teach life skills to these young kids. And here they are, 8, 9, 10 years old. A few weeks ago, I was so upset seeing that there was a 10-year-old who was nationally ranked through AAU, and I'm like, what message are we sending? Are you serious? And I can't help but kind of get on a soapbox here because it frustrates me that we should be teaching these young kids, how to represent themselves classy. I'm not saying, they should be wearing a suit and tie to go to these games, but I'm saying be neat, be clean, have your pants pulled up, have your shirts, looking good. Don't be coming in with your headphones on because you see the NBA players coming in with their headphones on. They're always on their phones. How many times do we go to restaurants right now and we see young kids at a dinner date and they're not even communicating. They're sitting there on their phones and not even paying attention to each other. They can't even have a quality, communication amongst each other. And it's sad.
It is.
So I'm concerned that the things and all the messages that we're sending this young generation are wrong. Well, let's teach a kid how to handle a debit card, how to balance a budget, how to write out a budget and protect that. Let's teach a kid what it means to have a credit card and what that interest rate is on a credit card. They don't even know what that means. You say this is an interest rate, you're getting 13% on every dollar that you're charging. They're like, no, they think that plastic is a piece of money and it pays for anything, again, quick microwave society. They don't understand that they're being exploited and they're using the fact that they're not going to pay that bill on time. Let's be educating those kids on that. Let's educate kids how to court a girlfriend, how to treat a girl, how to talk to that girl's parents, how to ask them, what's your daughter's curfew? What time would you like to have her back, sir? Those are the things that we should be teaching these young kids, not about, how can they get another $180 pair of tennis shoes, just because I want you to play on my team so we can get more wins and we can go travel the country. It's wrong, Bob, and I'm frustrated about it. And so that's what provoked me or inspired me to write that post. I went out for a walk, I got a jog in, I guess it triggered all these endorphins, and I came back saying, you know what, I'm stimulated and I'm going to write this post. But obviously it's hit a nerve. And, I appreciate you guys indulging me, allowing me to share some things because I want to get it back to the simplicity and the grassroots things. And, let's talk about morals. Let's talk about values. Let's talk about honor. Let's talk about integrity. If you would ask probably a 12-year-old kid what integrity means, they probably couldn't even give you the definition unless they went to their phone and Googled it and looked up integrity, and they're just going to read verbatim what they think integrity is.
Yeah,
you know what?
It's amazing.
Let's talk about these issues. Other life skills that we should be teaching these kids. Let's talk about, in the classroom. And these kids are struggling in the classroom. They don't have self-confidence. Let's talk about how to approach a teacher and how to talk to a teacher when you're struggling in a class. Let's talk about how to approach a principal and say, hey, this is an issue that I see within this high school that we should address before a small issue becomes a big issue. Let's empower our kids to have the strength and the confidence to make a stand for something that they believe in and have a voice and teach these kids and mold these kids to be our future leaders. I'm getting at the age now where in my mind, I still say I'm very young, but these young kids and this generation of kids that are coming through these sport programs and these leagues and these AAUs, Charles Barkley, is candid with some of the things he says. Now, he's brash and he's stern, but a lot of times the message that he sends is a good message. He may not always deliver it the way that the popular America wants to hear it, but I have to agree with he and Kobe when they say, AAU is poor. Well, why is it poor? I see both sides of it. There are good AAU coaches out there, and if you're out there listening, I'm not lumping all of you into one category. I'm talking about the AAU coaches who are just trying to get that big sponsorship, who are trying to get that Under Armour endorsement, trying to get that Nike endorsement, trying to get involved in the Adidas tournaments. Are you really looking out for the kids' best interests? Coach, are you out there just trying to promote yourself to get a higher level job for yourself? You know what? Take the focus off of you, put it back on these kids, make it about the kids. The kids are what the game is all about. Teach them the fundamentals, how to pass, how to shoot, how to rebound. So many games we go to right now, Bob, kids can't even make a wraparound pass to a post-entry pass. They don't have basic fundamentals because they want to emulate everything that they see on 24-hour sports centers. You know, they want to be the next dunker. You know what? There's so many parts of the game that we just got to clean it up. And it's our society, and we have to hold ourselves accountable, and we have to be transparent. And I know those sound like political terms, but you know what? Let's get back to accountability. Yep. Coaches, hold yourself accountable. Coaches, hold your players accountable. Don't let them walk into the gym late and put on their shoes and just go to practice, or come into an AAU game whenever they get there. If they're not there on time, penalize them, teach them a lesson, make them understand the importance of time management, how to come in late. You can't just walk into any job in America and come in late when you want to come in late and just do your job. We can speak on it at any time. When you go into an interview, how are you going to present yourself? I'm going off on a tangent here, and I know I'm probably overrun my time, but I've just got to get this off my chest.
It's good.
If this goes viral and you guys are feeling what I'm saying, please send in that hashtag CoachScottFields.com and share what you feel. If you agree with it, share the post. Let more people, let's get it trending so more people are getting back to the old-fashioned simple values and the morals and just the right things that need to be taught to these kids. Does it really matter at age 10 if you won a tournament? Come on. It doesn't matter if you won in that tournament. Let's talk about, were you a sport? When you beat that person, did you go shake their hand and tell them great job, great game? You're probably going to see that person again in another tournament. Or were you too cool and didn't want to go shake their hand? Those are the things that upset me, and these kids need to be taught these lessons. They can be molded, and these are our future leaders. So we have to treat them and teach them right, you know?
Yep, and you have such a short window of opportunity to make a difference for good.
You better believe it.
You've got to decide whether you're going to make a difference for good or bad.
That's right.
Everybody's an example. You can be a good example or a bad example.
Amen to that, Bob. And I appreciate you, chiming in with me on that. But again, I just think that Chinese proverb makes so much sense, and it's the way I kind of want to wrap up the show. Again, give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, and he'll eat for a lifetime. Let's teach the players the right things so that they too will one day remember that lesson, and they will go on and teach their children and their other players to the next generation to keep the game pure, to keep society clean, and get back to the morals and values of what America should really be all about. Helping someone who is less fortunate, getting involved in community programs, go spending time in a hospital with kids who are less fortunate or may have a terminal disease. They would love to be able to put on any pair of tennis shoes and have one person clap for them. Instead, we're teaching these kids, let's just go get a win and let's travel the country, and they're not even learning the game the right way.
Yeah.
So I had to say it right here on the Coach Scott Fields Show. Hey, do we have any winners? Completely changing gears. Do we have any winners on our tweets that we can give another Pat Williams Triumph book? It's an autographed copy, just as we did Josh Daniels tonight from Saratoga Springs. Is there anything out there that stands out to you?
Well, I mean, there are a lot of things on here.
Thank you for sending them in.
Yeah, thanks for sending those in. I think Sketchbook CC.
Sketchbook CC. I think we may know who that is.
I think we may.
Well, congratulations, Sketchbook CC. I'm going to put in the mail for you an autographed copy of Triumph. It's a great book from our first guest of the season, Pat Williams, the Senior Vice President of the Orlando Magic. I need to get that address from you. We're going to mail that out to you because I bet your dad would like to read it also. There you go. So congratulations, Sketchbook CC. You are the winner this week on the Coach Scott Fields Show. Thank you for using that hashtag, Coach SF Show. We appreciate your tweets. Keep that interaction going. We're going to have another great guest for you next week, Tuesday night at 7:30, right here from Brave Haven Studios. God bless you. Thank you for your time and letting us into your home. And again, go to CoachScottFields.com and see these posts. And again, we're going to have some photos of those book winners right here for you. Have a great night. God bless. We'll see you next week.